coochie stretch and eat a nigga ass.
Bleed.
Today in London. Period. I'm trying to get this coochie stretch.
If she behaved that way in Dubai, she would be in prison for life. And she's one of the people who claim that countries like America are so oppressive, yet this is the way that she conducts herself. I hate to say it, but white people never act this way. And yes, you have black women who are fighting for their lives to stop being associated with this kind of culture, but then Sukihana the GOAT is so loud and so ghetto in using her platform to showcase the worst side of black culture.
Number one, I hate to break it to them, but I'm sure they eating ass and getting their coochie scratched in London well before Sukihana came there. Number two, you so lost in the sauce of racial pathology, you've equated the individual act of a black woman to all of black culture or all the black community. Number three, you being on respectability politics is not going to free you. So saying white people don't do this, what does that mean? You mean black women gonna stop getting kidnapped? Does it mean the infertility rate gonna go lower? Does it mean that black women gonna stop dying when they give birth? Like, what does this mean? Nothing. I'm talking about your feelings. Number four, speaking of feelings, I understand that you feel uncomfortable by her quote unquote indecency. You see what I'm saying? But the fact you've wished life in prison on her, it speaks volumes of how you think about the Constitution and how you feel about freedom. Number five, in my hood, we always call it some sucker shit when boys want to police women more than they do other men, because I guarantee you ain't got much content talking about rappers or rap music in terms of black men, but I'm sure you got many shallow criticisms about black women. And number six, speaking of shallow, a lot of y'all think very deeply about shallow shit and then you drown in your own understanding. Why? Number seven, proponents of respectability politics might attempt to portray their personal social values as being continuous and compatible with the dominant values. White people wouldn't do this. They may prefer not to challenge the mainstream for its failure to accept the marginalized group into mainstream, and that the diversity also exists within the group. Number eight, I know this video is about like London and what shit in London, but remember when Jay-Z and Kanye sung about N-words in Paris? White folks don't do that either. Or were they? Number nine, black women ain't a monolith, so everybody can't be Claire Huxtable or Michelle Obama. Some of them act just like Young Miami and Sukihana, and they all deserve respect, correct? Number 10, if you wasn't interested in none of the coochie scratching and booty she was talking about, you could have kept on scrolling and kept your thoughts to yourself, but here we are. You being lost in the sauce of respectability politics, think it's gonna do something. Number 11, he really wants Sukihana to go to jail for a non-violent, victimless action? Woo-hoo. Number 12, serious question. So you really talking about getting coochie scratched and booty eating equals life in jail? You really believe that? My last and final point, since he loves what white people do so much, they would never talk about white culture being attributed because the individual act of one person they found indecent. Education is elevation, sucker. Just because she a hoe, don't mean she gonna hoe for you. A lot of us have been miseducated that these hoes is for everybody, but in actuality, these hoes is for whoever they want to be for, which is probably not you. You know what I'm saying? It might not be. It might not be. She let that fool get something. I know I look better than him. But look what she wearing, though. If she don't want me to touch her look, she shouldn't wear that. Well, you know, I meet them how I greet them. You know what I'm saying? I treat hoes like hoes. You know, I treat women like women. You know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of stigmatization of what I like to call pathology that goes around women that identify as hoes and then women that you want to inscribe the identity of being a hoe on. You see what I'm saying? But this is what I recognize. Even if you believe a woman has a strong desire to be intimate, that is to her discretion and not for everybody else to pick and choose when she should be horn or not horn.
Those come directly out of biology. And let me show you why you are submissive.
Well, biologically speaking, women live longer and they can take on more pain. So what are you talking about that biology says that women are supposed to be submissive? This sounds like some pseudo-intellectual macho masculinity shit here. It's like, sir, there's a multiplicity in femininity, meaning there's multiple ways in which women can position themselves and how they manifest their femininity. This literally means that there are certain women that would love to do this submissive shit you're talking about, but there are also a lot of women that don't want to do that shit. And you ain't got to beat her into submission to make it where you can make your point. This plantation patriarchy got y'all running rampant and y'all don't want to do away with the massa. Y'all want to be the massa, obviously. Can't paternalize a grown-ass woman telling her she got an ugly mouth in terms of her saying what's on her mind and talking back to you. It's like, bro, you cut it out. I'm gonna be real with you, man. You wouldn't be able to deal with me in a debate because this pseudoscience, biological understanding of gender, I eat it. I'm talking about demolish it. You feel me? Education is elevation, and a lot of us need to learn the distinctions between consent and coercion and recognize that hoes also deserve consent. If this video offends you, you probably lost in the sauce when it comes to hoes or hoeing, which means you probably didn't have to a little sniff of the respectability politics, and you believe that if you are not presented respectable, then you don't deserve to be treated with respect. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what you got. I stopped. See, I'm from Texas, you know what I'm saying? And hoe can be an adjective, a verb, or an adverb, you know what I'm saying? One can be hoeing, one can pass that hoe over there, or one can be doing some hoe shit. You see what I'm saying? This video right here, though, is about the gendered perspective of how we deploy the word hoe and how it usually slips into objectification, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us forget that when you start to talk about the binary between being ratchet or being respectable, that is usually up to the person that is giving the gaze, not the person that is under the gaze. And I know I'm country as hell, so I'm saying the gaze, G-A-Z-E, and not the gays, G-A-Y-S. You know what I'm saying? It's a critical theory, philosophy, sociology, or psychoanalysis. Some white dudes came up with this idea of thinking about the gaze. It's a figurative sense. It's an individual or group's awareness or perception of others, individuals, other groups, or oneself. The concept of this social application, the gaze, has been defined and explained by existentialists and phenomenologist philosophers like Sartre. He described the gaze as the look and being and nothingness. Michel Foucault, he described it, you know what I'm saying, in the discipline of punishment and birth in prison. It developed the concept of the gaze to illustrate the dynamics of socio-political relations and the social dynamics of mechanisms and disciplines. And what I'm saying is when it comes to hoeing, a lot of y'all be lost in the sauce of, a lot of us be lost in the sauce of the nothingness gaze, where we believe we can objectify and or inscribe our own ideas onto somebody else's body. You know what I'm saying? And we don't recognize how the gaze, the look, you see what I'm saying, is really everything. Not everything, but you know what I'm saying? It's a lot. In conclusion, let's recognize the multiplicity of being a hoe and hoeing, because some hoes hoe for free and some do it for a fee. And some hoes are the bros. However, when we think about it through a gender lens, we recognize that women have a different magnetizing way of being pathologized.
Girl, if he can't accept my ran through dirty Arby sandwich pussy whore ass, then he's not a real man.
So if making content for progression and respect of women is considered simping for women's attention, who is he tap dancing for attention for and making this type of content? Because to me, it seems like he's shucking and jiving for the attention of men, you feel me? Which is kind of a contradiction, right? Speaking of contradictions, typically the same dudes that like to devalue, dehumanize, and demoralize women for the attention of dudes are also the men that's hella homophobic. Make that make sense. And speaking of making shit make sense, that's going on in latest misogynistic myth to rest right now. He said something about a ran through Arby's pussy. I know that we conditioned to think that our penises is so powerful that we can just beat up something out of thing. But let me tell you something though. The intelligent design of the vagina is literally structured to be able to push through 11-pound, 12-pound babies and shit. What you mean ran through? You feel me? See, I'm also curious though. I wonder if I was to ask you to describe what is a good woman, would you describe a slave woman that can cook and clean and be at your beck and call? Plantation patriarchy is going out of hand, man. If you made it this far, you might as well like, share, subscribe. As a matter of fact, really share. Copy the link, you feel me, and send it to about 3 or 4 people. You know what I mean? Education is elevation. Research over me search. And while you waited, go and check out the website, theconsciouslead.com. Until next time, y'all.